too, Mary. Well,
Okay.
thank you again.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, next up, uh, representing the National Stuttering Association, we have Pam Mertz. Pam, take it away.
Thank you, Tom, and hi, everybody. As Tom said, I'm Pamela Mertz, but I respond to Pam. And I'm happy to have been invited to speak about the National Stuttering Association. So the NSA, the National Stuttering Association of the USA, this year celebrates 45 years of helping people who stutter and the allies and advocates in our worlds. The NSA started humbly as the National Stuttering Project and was originally San Francisco based. In a few short years, other cities starting with Houston, began having regular meetings with people who stutter, who found each other and realized so much could and would change simply by being around others who stutter. Research actually demonstrates that meeting with others who stutter, be it in small groups or conferences of hundreds of people who stutter, inspire hope, bravery, and choice, including how we want to stutter, if we want to improve our stuttering, or if we choose to be okay with just how we are. From those grassroots beginnings, which I think is so cool because it is a grassroots organization, the NSP, the National Stuttering Project, evolved into the National Stuttering Association, and support chapters took off. In fact, the support chapters are the very backbone of the success of the NSA. The NSA now has 200 plus chapters across the country for adults, kids, teens, families, and allies. Personally, for years, I had denied I stuttered, and I carefully curated any time I spoke or said anything to sound as normal as possible, because that's how I felt all through childhood and into adulthood, that something was wrong with me. I didn't fit in, and people's reactions were often cruel and dismissive. Like all of us have experienced, never having met anyone who stuttered, I truly thought I was the only one. And I'm sure everybody in this room can relate to that. After losing my job because of stuttering, and that's a completely different story, something I had believed I had so well hidden, something happened for the first time. In early 2006, the internet had only been around, I think, for 10 years at that point. I typed the word stuttering into Google for the first time ever, and up popped tons of resources. I was in shock. I never knew there was anything written about stuttering. I greedily read everything I could, and I discovered that there was a local chapter of the NSA 15 minutes away from where I lived. I was like in shock, but also afraid of, taking that step. But had I known that there was support available in my backyard, how things could have been different. If I had met a successful adult who stuttered when I was a kid, I would have found hope. And that's what the NSA does best, inspires hope. Hope that we're not alone and that we don't have to face the isolation and shame alone. I attempted to go to that first NSA meeting, but I sat in my car for 30 minutes, bracing myself for what it would be like. And I chickened out and went home. I was just too afraid to make that leap. The next month, I emailed the chapter leader and said I wanted to attend, but was scared. So she said she'd meet me outside by the stairs and walk up with me. When I went into the room, there were 8 or 9 men, and the leader and I were women. I was so happy to meet others who stutter, but especially another woman, because I had heard that the percentage of people who stutter overall is about 1%. And I actually personally think it's higher than that, because people who are covert don't report that they stutter. So it may be more than that. But I was so happy to meet another woman, because women are in the minority of the minority. That first group did not go well. I left halfway through. Actually, I bolted halfway through. It was overwhelming, and everyone went around and introduced themselves with different degrees of stuttering, and I felt I didn't belong. A stutterer who doesn't stutter might not be accepted. The leader emailed me and encouraged me to try it again. Someone in the group after that meeting asked me why I was there, since I didn't stutter. That was like my worst fear, realized that here we go, like I don't stutter enough. 3 months later, I went to my first conference alone, and again, scared to death. I had no job. I'd been fired, had little money, and wondered why the hell would I want to be around other people who stuttered for 3 days. That would defeat the denial that I had built up. I didn't stutter. Why the heck would I want to be around so many other people who stutter? But the universe conspired. My mom and her husband used their points to buy me an airline ticket. I was able to, and that was a big deal, because my mom had never, ever talked about stuttering. It was never talked about, which also reinforced the fact that I felt like I wasn't normal. But I entered that hotel and I heard lots of people stuttering in the lobby. I couldn't believe it. It seemed like we were in the majority. I was assigned a roommate that I'd never met who stuttered as well, but it was really scary. But after some awkward moments, we really got along well. This was like 15 years ago, and I still remember her name and what she looks like. I went to a few workshops and was quite overwhelmed, but everybody was nice, friendly, supportive, and stuttered in all different ways. And there were lots of women, which kind of like dispelled that myth, because there were as many, if not more, women in many of the workshops that I went to. But one workshop in particular changed my perception and identity thereon. The name of the workshop was Covert Stuttering Exposed. All of a sudden, there was a name for what I had been doing for 30 years. And it was such a relief. I broke down in tears, you know, just because like the relief kind of like poured out of me. I broke down and people comforted me and said, we know, amazing, isn't it? And that's all they had to say. And like, I knew that I was supported. The longtime theme of the NSA has simply been, if you stutter, you are not alone. And I learned that in that minute when people started hugging me and acknowledging that it was okay to cry, whether it was cry of relief or crying out of happiness, but it was okay. And I learned that people that stutter differently across like a spectrum, like I kind of call it, and that's okay too. I really, because I'd never met somebody else who stuttered, I didn't hear people stutter differently from me. And that to me was also comforting in a way. I also learned that the NSA not only helps people who stutter, but reaches out to those who don't to help normalize stuttering, where we play, learn, and work. The NSA created an innovative workplace stuttering program in late 2018, now called We Stutter at Work, which provides resources of all kinds for people who stutter and their allies, and profiles the career success of ordinary people who stutter, who work in every industry imaginable. Not famous people, but ordinary people like us who go to work, do what we have to do, and succeed. Most importantly, outreach efforts through We Stutter at Work raise awareness and educate employers and workplaces about stuttering, debunk myths, and help employers realize an untapped wealth of talented potential employees. We've worked with Goldman Sachs, PayPal, Salesforce, Cooper House, MITRE, and this is really cool. Most recently, the Los Angeles Museum of Art and History reached out to the NSA and asked us to provide guidance and education so they could help a new employee who stutters feel as comfortable as possible and help colleagues understand stuttering etiquette. I don't know if that's a real phrase, but there is some stuttering etiquette that people in the workplace and people who do not stutter need to know. And that's the NSA, bringing hope, challenging assumptions, educating people who stutter and those that don't, and inviting allies and advocates to be part of the community. The NSA has changed in the last 45 years. We've grown, we've changed, we've offered more to the minority groups within our minority. We've stood up, we've been loud and proud, and we understand the impact that stuttering support groups can have on a person's life. And I'm testimony of that. Again, after years of denial and thinking that I was successful in hiding my stuttering, suddenly I realized that I did have a voice, and that it was worthy of being heard. So we've made progress, the National Stuttering Association, and it shows. And what's progress? A turtle only makes progress when it sticks its neck out. A turtle only makes progress when it sticks its neck out. stick your neck out with the NSA. It's okay. Ta-da! Thank you. There's like 3 minutes left, so I could regale you with the pictures in the background of my stuttering photographs, which I dearly love. Not sure if you can really see them right, but these are old record covers from the 1920s and the 1930s that a friend found in a garage sale. And one of them says, "You tell her I stutter." And that was actually a song, I guess, from the 1920s. So the friend found them and framed them for me, which, you know, I cherish, and I'm not afraid to have that in my background and let people see it. So I hope you've all learned a little about the National Stuttering Association and my own personal journey. Yeah, Paul.
Pam, one thing you've neglected to say, because I have been involved with the NSA, the then NSP, for many, many years. And I recall saying years and years and years ago, we need more support for women who stutter, because the ratio is 5-to-1 of men who stutter and women. The ratio is 5-to-1. You, my dear friend, have came out of all this. You started a blog, you have a podcast for women who stutter, and that needs to be recognized. And I thank you for what you do for women who stutter, because it's been much needed for years. I thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing that feedback. That's
well, it's long overdue, dear.
Thank you very much. My time is up, and I am really pleased to be able to introduce our next speakers. Hopefully they're in the waiting room and are ready. We have from the Friends Association, the National Stuttering Association for young people who stutter, which I've had the opportunity to attend 6 of their conferences as well. But I would like to introduce Nina and Drew, who are going to share with you about the Friends Association. So thank you all, and it's been a pleasure being with you today.